started investing in 95. I've done just about everything you could think about as far as wholesaling deals, rehabs. I've done some short sales. I've done hundreds of short sales. I shouldn't say some, but I've done hundreds of short sales. I've been investing in the Illinois, Indiana market. I started in Indiana probably 2002 was when I started doing the Indiana market. But I kind of switched my model to Indiana because Indiana taxes was cheaper. The properties was cheaper. Uh, and that's what made me switch over to Indiana because you got a better deal with a better cash flow than you would if you just were not doing if you were doing cash flowing properties. So Illinois gave you higher tax uh, with a lot of the red tapes. And Indiana, our eviction process takes about 2 weeks for us to actually have somebody removed, as opposed to me going to Indiana, and I can Illinois eviction process is a longer eviction process. So going through my process of and the reason I created this is because I wanted a faster way to actually run a deal analyzer or analyze a deal to actually basically give me some grounds on what it was that I was looking at. And the quickest way that I knew to do that was to build my own stuff because people start having their own things. Uh, you can kind of understand the how it works a lot better. You can maneuver around through it better. You could do a lot of things a lot better than you could if you was doing somebody else's program. So that being said, that's why I came up with the deal analyzer. So this is it. Uh, if when you open it up, it opens up to a blank page unless you don't clear it out. I'm gonna just go through it and show you some of the things that I like about it, what I added to it to make it work for me, and why people keep asking me for a copy of it. So I decided to put this together to break it down to people and let them see it in its full function. So the first line is price. You want to figure out what the price is that you should pay for a property. And you can use this on single families, multifamilies, any kind of commercial properties, and I'll show you where you can actually do that. Well, when I run numbers, I like to do it on a cash on cash basis, but you can see you can change it to cap rate, monthly cash flow, DCR, debt cover ratio. That's what DSCR is, debt ratios. But I like the cash on cash return, and I typically want to see a 15% return. So that's the first number you want to fill in. You need to select what do you want as far as how you want to see your returns, and then select the percentage, put in your percentage, and then go from there. And I know some of you all have been investing for a while, and you guys have probably ran into that as a issue uh, as far as trying to analyze deals and trying to actually get them figured out to what's the best way to actually figure out if it's a deal or not. So I did turn the mute off. I did mute everybody too, so we can go through it. So I'm gonna be asking you to just put up some hearts and stuff as you follow along with me with this. So most people that run into these, they look for a way that they can figure out what's the best deal for them to actually best property for way the best way they can figure out what's the best number they can pay for a property. So some of you guys have struggled with that, I'm quite sure. With that being said, this is actually going to help you through that process. So you can actually put the picture of the property. If you guys got a picture of the property, you can click here, upload the picture, and then put that picture in. If it came off the MLS, you can put the MLS link in here. I'm gonna just put test in here for the property name. Um, so that way it's something there. And I'm just gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4 uh Euclid. This is gonna be a multifamily. For the number of units, let's do 15, let's do 20 units as our number of units. So when this is where you're gonna start seeing numbers change up top. These numbers are gonna actually reflect as you they're gonna show you as it change. You're gonna see the maximum purchase price change, the cash flow. You're gonna see all these numbers change. And these numbers are important because that's what's gonna tell you if it's a deal or not. So purchase price, let's say the seller want 2 million for the property. 1, 2, 3. They asking 2 million. That's what it's listed for. And this property was brought to you by a realtor, perhaps, or you just found it online. Uh, on commercial, you typically see 20 to 30% down. I'm gonna put 30%. I'm gonna be on the high side. All your numbers, you want to run them on the high side. And the reason you want to run them on the high side is because you testing the waters with this property and see if it can handle it. Your loan interest rate. This is what they asking for. Interest rate. You want your interest rate. Let's do 9%. On commercials, you're gonna probably get somewhere between 7 and 9. So I'm gonna go on the high side and put 9. The loan terms, let's do a 30-year, amortized over 30 years. Closing costs, let's put it's typically 3%. So let's put 50,000 as your closing cost fees. And then when we go back up, you'll see some of the numbers start to change. So, and this is going to be as you input numbers, you're going to see the numbers change. Uh, Average unit price. Let's do $800 per unit. And the reason you putting the average in there is because it's gonna do the numbers for you and tell you what it is. I'm gonna do a vacancy rate of 15%. We have no other income coming in on the property. The expenses, let's put it at let's do 50%. Let's do $100,000 on the rehab. So I'm just plugging numbers in. When I'm plugging numbers in is because when you normally get an offer memoranda from a realtor or if the seller, if you're talking to a seller, they'll give you a lot of these numbers. So you could just take them and plug them in. But I'm gonna show you guys some that I really like about this. And as you see, the numbers are still changing. And you can see that it's also telling you that so far this is not a deal. The debt cover ratio. Most lenders want to see a 1.25 on the DSCR debt cover ratio. Debt service ratio, they want to see a 1.25. So that it's already telling you that it's not a deal. So so now let's change some numbers. Let's play around with some numbers. Let's put this at 1,500 a unit. And then when we go back up to the top, we see the numbers change. We still ain't where we wanted to be. We still our purchase price is gonna be lower than what this is what we can our max offer. They're asking 2 million for it. we still can't get there. And these numbers are what I'm doing is showing you if you change the numbers, if the property do a rent increase, it can actually make the numbers work. But if we change the 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 price to 2,000 a month, the number's gonna probably come in to where we need it to be. So everything turned green. This is your max purchase price. So they asking 2 million. Now you need to come back and ask the seller. Uh, and I'm a creative guy. I like doing creative deals. 90% of my deals are always gonna be on a creative deal. And when I say creative, I'm talking about uh, somewhere where I'm actually asking the seller to hold a second, or I'm asking them to put me on title so I can refinance them out, or I'm asking them to take out a loan for them to actually to refinance the property to take out the money that they're looking for on the equity side, and then I take over those payments. So it's a lot of different. I could structure one deal probably 20 different ways. So it just depends on the willingness of the seller. So, but this is not a deal for me because, like I said, up here, my cash on cash, I wanted 15%. And as you can see right here is 9.2. It's not a good return. What do you guys typically want to see on for you to make a decision on a deal, whether it's single family, multifamily, commercial? Let's see some numbers come in the chat and see what most people like to see as far as numbers when they start putting in numbers on a deal. What's the return, or what kind of rate do you normally look for as an individual on a return? Uh, what do some of you guys like to see? I guess it's okay. So so now you got to start asking yourself those questions. And the reason you need to start asking yourself those questions is because you need to know what a deal look like for you. Most people don't really know what a deal look like for them. So so a lot of times these questions that you need to ask yourself because it's important for you to know what a deal look like when you actually uh doing a deal. So so when you start running your numbers and it start breaking it down and give you prices per doors, it start giving you all the little numbers that's going to be important when you analyzing a deal, showing you your down payment is 600,000, your loan amount is 1.4, monthly mortgage payments. You kind of know if your mortgage payments are actually going to be met with the cash flow that's coming in, and that's why the debt cover ratio is so important. Uh, so and then you look at your overall. So what a lot of times when you're doing large deals like this, even on single families, you may want to decide that you want to bring in investors. So I may give an investor 15% of the deal, and I may give a 12% return. I'm gonna tell them it's 5 years. The cash investment needed, let's because we need the 100,000 plus the closing costs. So we need 200 because you want to make sure you have money for you to actually sustain the property during that time. So you need $200,000 to come to closing. So that's what your total cash needed to close this deal is 750. So what's great about this, those of you all who raise capital, because capital raising is important once you start getting to a certain level, you start raising capital. I know raising capital is a big part of my investment journey right now. because I'm doing larger deals. For single families, quick flips, I do use some hard money. I do have some hard money lenders that I like to work with. But if you do an interest only partner, your payment to them every month, if they give you the whole funds that you needed, is 2,000 a month. If you if you show it to them on an annual basis, they make it 24,000. There's not too many investments that's out here that's going to give you that type of return on $200,000 a year. And when you look at it on the equity side, and you can give them both. If the deal supported, you can give them both. So if you gave them both, you're looking at both the equity and the interest. You're looking at a $2,800 monthly payment that's added on to the mortgage payment. So if the deal would actually hold, you paying the 11,000 plus the additional $2,800 a month, then it's something that you can offer to an investor to make it more entertaining for them, to make them actually want to actually come into the deal. So, and then this is the other breakdown of it. It gives you a 5 year spread to tell you what the deal will be doing in year one, year two. This is what it'll do. It actually shows you as the value increase in 5 years. If you run the numbers on this in 5 years, you can pull at least a couple of $100,000 out of it in 5 years. It's going to be a lot more than that because you constantly doing your rent increases, you constantly doing value adds to the property, where it's actually going to make the property more valuable to you. Uh, there's some good things in here that I added in for me, because if I'm doing a renovation or anything, I want to keep track of it. So there's a section in here. It's a due diligence uh, point where you can actually go through and put real numbers in. Once you get actual numbers, I always ask for a T12 on commercial properties or investment apartment buildings. You can put those numbers in here and you can actually see what those numbers come into. We put the rent at 2,000. Let's plug some of these numbers in. No extra, no vending machines, no credit checks. Let's put another 1,200 here for credit checks. Because you're gonna run credit checks, they're gonna pay damages. You may collect another 500 and damages. Uh, let's do late payments. Uh, let's add another 450 for late payments. And this is just a quick uh number just to give you some numbers just to keep for your records. These are record keeping numbers, which are important as you analyze the deal more. And you start putting in your expenses, all your expenses. When you start adding in your unit count, you start putting in your units. You can put up to 100, 300 units, whatever you need. And then when you walk the property, you can do a repair cost. You can do your repair cost for a single family, multifamily, whatever it may need. You could do your budget for it. The lender might ask you, "Do you have a budget?" You can go through here and put your budget in, and it'll actually give you a budget for your repairs. So and then what I like when I walk apartment buildings, and if it's something that I'm keeping, when I'm doing the tenants files, when I'm looking at the tenants files, I'm actually adding those tenants in. If there's a property that I know I'm going to keep, I add all that information in because it's going to be helpful for you later down the line. So one thing I do want to show too, and then I'm gonna let Joe come on too. Joe is uh, a expert in getting people past where they stuck at. So he's gonna come on introduce himself and give you guys a little insight on himself and what he's offering you guys too. So if I wanted to print this out and I just wanted to send this over to an equity partner, I can print this out and give him this sheet, and it'll give him all the details on the property that I'm just looking at. And if he's interested in investing in a deal, he can actually send this on over to me as he's an investor or he wants to be a sponsor in the deal or whatever it may be. Uh, and he can send this right over to me, and then I could take a look at it and get back to him on that. Or if I'm doing both, I could send both of them, and it gives you the breakdown on what both of them would look like if they both are doing both of the equity and interest. So you can save your deal. So if I save this deal, uh, it's there. So when I look up my deals, I can go back to my test deal and I can open it back up. If I want to run a new deal, I just click on new. It's gonna give me a prompt to click on new, and then you can see all the numbers zero back out, and then I can actually start a new deal. So that's the deal analyzer. We are currently looking at some hotels that we're also looking for investors for. Those who are interested in becoming investors with us. Um, we can also talk about that as well if that's something most people are looking for. Uh, Joseph.
I want to start by asking you all a question. How many of you felt like you're what you're working on, but you're working hard, but you're not getting the results that you want? You're working hard at your entrepreneurship, at whatever you're trying to change, whatever you're trying to grow. What is that thing that you're working on, but you're not getting the results that you want? Yeah. I want you to think about this for a minute. Have you ever wondered why the same problem you're having, whether it's in your career, starting your entrepreneurship, starting your business, your finances, or your relationship, is there a reoccurring problem that you're having that you just cannot seem to shake? It just would not allow you to move forward. It seems like a blockade there. Is there a issue that you feel like, man, if I can just get past this one thing, I can make a difference and I can achieve whether it's a satisfying relationship or it is the wealth that I want or that next project I'm trying to launch. What is that thing? If anybody can think about what is that one thing that they're struggling with, you can put it in the chat. If you could put it in the chat. So I want you to think about this. What if that your biggest obstacle is not outside of you, but is inside of you? I think a lot of times what we don't realize, what's hidden in our mindset or our habits that is quietly sabotaging our success is something that we need to be able to identify and discover. Most people don't have a motivation issue, they have a self-sabotaging problem. What does self-sabotage look like? It looks like fear, failure, self-doubt, overthinking, anger, feeling overwhelmed, staying inside of your comfort zone, not taking that risk that you want to take in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Not having a clear system. You know, these habits slowly rob your confidence, opportunity, healthy relationships, career growth, peace of mind. The hardest part of this all is this: most people don't even realize they're doing it to themselves. Oftentimes, we find ourselves stuck and not realizing why we're stuck. In my own professional life, there is moments and times where I felt stuck and I could not move past a certain point, especially when I moved from a clinician or a counselor into being a program director. And I had to figure out how to make that shift in my thinking and my perception. So for more than 25 years, I have helped people develop personally and professionally. I served as a statewide training manager for supportive housing programs, as a supervisor, or a program director, leadership trainer, communication coach. I work with entrepreneurs, leaders, addictions counselors, human service organizations, individuals seeking personal transformation. When I was a statewide training manager, we worked with 100 non-for-profit organizations that was housing the homeless and those who were struggling with specific issues like substance abuse and mental health. And we had to make sure that they able to put those programs together to serve that population they were struggling with. Throughout the years, I discovered something important. Success isn't just about talent. It's about identifying the hidden habits that keep people stuck. I was stuck before, so I know what it's like to get unstuck and how to move past that. That's why I created my self mastery blueprint. My transformation session isn't about motivation, it's about transformation. We move through these three simple stages: self discovery, self awareness, and self mastery. So, when you're talking about self discovery, a lot of times we have not really identified what are those limiting beliefs, emotional triggers, unhealthy routines, self defeating habits that cause us to get stuck that we just need to be able to identify. And we have not been able to move past those particular things. I always say you cannot change what you cannot see. The second step is we talk about self awareness. In self awareness, we're thinking about how do you think differently? How do you communicate better? How do you regulate your emotions? How do you make confident decisions? I was frozen.
Yeah, you fell all the way out.
Oh, yeah, okay. What did I leap off at?
How to build your team.
How to build your team. Okay. So when we talk about building your team, whether you're moving from a solo man operation into a multiple team operation, one of the things you need as a leader or as a entrepreneur, you need to have someone to help you to transition. So sometimes what happen is that we don't have an idea of what those limiting situations or limiting beliefs or habits or routines or rituals or even sometimes ruminating thoughts that keep us stuck. But with this particular process, I want to help you to do some self-discovery to identify those things that's holding you back. And after we move from self discovery, we move right into self-awareness. So with that, you'll become more aware because you cannot change nothing that you're not aware of. Okay, so and then we move on to self-mastery. So do you have any questions before I go any further? Okay. Any questions? All right. So this is what I want to leave you with, and I don't want to take up too much time. Uh, I want you to think about this. Write this down. If you got a moment, if you got a pen and a piece of paper next to you, write this down. I want you to write down one habit or one emotion or one belief that's keeping you from becoming the person you know that you can be in order to have the wealth that you want to have. Write that one thing down. If you feel comfortable, share it in the chat. Share it in the chat. And what I want to do is that I want to offer you to schedule a complimentary 15-minute discovery session where we can explore how and what you need to do to get unstuck and how you can grow your skills and improve your opportunities. And what all you need to do is send me an email at impactcoach2.0 at gmail.com. Let me repeat that: impactcoach2.0 at gmail.com. Include your name, phone number, and I'll do a personal follow-up call with you to talk to you about what you need to do in order to learn more about this program. Do you have any other questions before I close out? Okay. All right. I'll turn it back over to you, Don.
All right. So, if anybody have any questions or want to know more about things that I'm doing, you can also find me on all social media platforms as my name, Donald Torrance. I'm also I'm putting in a link in the chat, a link to for those who actually may want a copy of the analyzer. Whoever orders a copy of it, I'm also going to be sending out a copy of you can pick since it's only a few people on here, I'll probably send you a copy of both my last few books. I'll actually get those in the mail to you too if you decide to move forward with the analyzer. Uh, we got some other things in the works for those who are actually starting to invest. We putting something together that it's going to actually bring leads directly to you. It'll actually those leads would have been vetted, so you guys can actually be making calls to somebody who actually wants to sell. That's coming soon. It's going to also be bringing you investors that are looking to invest in your deal. So we got a lot of stuff in the works in the upcoming months. So stay tuned. If you're not following me or following Joseph, oh, excuse me, please follow and look forward to hearing from anybody that's has some questions. We got a few minutes left if anybody does have any questions. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate you guys spending. You could have spent your time somewhere else. I appreciate you spending the last few minutes with us, and thank you again.
All right. Thank you all.